This is Talib Jasir, founder and CEO of Afros and Audio, and I want to personally invite you, yes, you, to the 4th Annual Afros and Audio Podcast Festival, October 22nd and 23rd at the Warwick Rittenhouse Square Hotel in Philadelphia. Don't miss this 2-day conference for and by Black independent podcast creatives and audio professionals. Visit bit.ly AFAU Fest 22 to learn more.
Hey, what's up, good people? It's Jay Ray, the co-host of Q Points, and I wanted to come to you because there are two really important ways that you can support our show. One is by subscribing to it wherever you listen to or watch your podcasts. Q Points is pretty much everywhere. The other thing that you can do is you can visit us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Podchaser, and you can leave us a star rating. Please rate us 5 stars because you know you love Q Points. And on Apple Podcasts and on Podchaser, you can actually leave us a written review. It's not required, but it really does help to spread the word about the show, and it helps people to discover it as they're looking for new podcasts to listen to. We're always appreciative of you supporting Q Points. We thank you so much for all that you've done for us so far, and enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Q Points. I am Sir Daniel.
And my name is Jay Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. What's happening, good people?
You are now in tune to the best podcast show, best black music podcast show in the country. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But no, this is Q Points, and we are dropping the needle on black music history. First and foremost, Jay Ray, friend, how are you doing this evening?
Man, I am golden. It has been such a really good and productive day and week, and excited to be here having another great conversation with you this week. How are you doing? With Kima, Keisha, and Pam in the back. How you doing?
You see them. We all four of us are sitting up here. We chilling, having a good evening. It's been a eventful day. It's been a work. Today was one of those days at work where it was like, okay, this is cool. This is what it's all about. So I still left weary and feeling, like I needed a drink or something afterwards, but it's all good. It's all good. It's almost at this time, it's almost the weekend for us. So we're just making sure that your week is capped off right with another great episode of Q Points, because J Ray, this has been, unfortunately we have to say goodbye to some greats, to some musical legends. Earlier this week, of course, late last week, we lost Jesse Powell. Mm-hmm. Phenomenal singer, really did his thing in the 90s. The brother of twin sisters Trina and Tamara, who also had their career moments in R&B. Yeah. And, I got the chance. This is what I love about spinning at Rocksteady, because it's R&B and it's slow jams. Oh, I did my Jesse Powell thing. I served them up a couple joints over the weekend just to make sure that his name, and people were singing along. I was like, Yep, that's what I wanted right there. Let that man's name forever live and his music.
Absolutely. So, yes, rest in peace to Jesse Powell. And that is one of the things that is really cool to know that we have of people is their music. Right. So that we still have the opportunity to kind of hear their voices. And Jesse made a huge contribution to our kind of young adulthood, totally. And the music business in general. So we absolutely must send love to him. And of course, also, I guess this was last week too. We're also sending love out to the family of Marva Hicks. Marva Hicks, phenomenal vocalist, spent a number of years on Broadway, had an album in 1991 that included a song written by Kipper Jones as well. As a friend of this show. And Marva Hicks acted, so she would appear like on Star Trek Voyager and Sister to Sister. And so she was one of those Hollywood black women that was kind of doing it all. She would give you a little sang, give you some theater, give you some TV, and absolutely want to send love out to her family as well, because we lost Miss Hicks too.
Absolutely. So rest in peace, Marva Hicks. It's funny you bring that up. I saw the both you and I had a an exchange on Twitter with Creon, singer-songwriter Creon, because Creon tweeted in regards to what happened to variety shows. And someone like a Marva Hicks would have definitely done a great variety show. Lola Falana.
Yeah.
Cher. Cher had her own variety show, and a lot of people are too young to remember what variety shows were like, but it's just what you said: song, dance, a little comedy, theater, you know, all wrapped into maybe 30 minutes or an hour. I would love to see the return of variety shows on television.
Yeah, and that's where I think it's important for artists to get the training and get the experience, because Kipper and I actually had that conversation. We were talking about something and it was like, well, who could even do it? Like, because you would need someone that's able to pull that off, right? They have to be able to sing. They have to be able to act a bit. They have to be able to dance. They have to be able to captivate the audience, right? And these are skills that I think are teachable. Ooh, you have an idea. What?
I do. Somebody just popped into my mind, and she does all of those things. I think she has the gravitas. If we just put together some really good content, or she has some really good content behind her. But Tiana Taylor could probably pull off a variety show. Yeah, she basically does that on the road, and I think she just came off the road because she was doing her like little kind of burlesque type of show where she sang, dancing, all of that stuff. I can see that happening.
I love
Tiana,
that.
If this pops off, Tiana, we know where you got the idea from. All we want is just our producer's credit. That's all. That's all we want, because we're a Best Podcast Music Award nominated podcast, and I'm not saying that. I'm not just pulling that out of my behind, folks. I think you've seen the announcements earlier this week. J. Ray and I have to shout out the Black Pod Awards Committee for nominating Q Points for a Black Music Podcast Award.
Isn't that something? Yeah, y'all, like, shout out to all of y'all who are like listening and hanging out with us. But Sir Daniel, we have been working at this since May of 2021. And to know that a little over a year later, like, we're nominated for this award and in the category that makes, this is what we do. It's in our mission. Like, we talk about Black music, and we truly take seriously the conversations that we have. And so to be nominated for this award means so much. And so the award ceremony. Okay. Well, two things. One, y'all can vote for us. So I'm going to put that in the chat. So you can't vote for us for Best Black Music Podcast because that's actually selected by the judges. But you can vote for us for what they call their Listeners Love Award. So think of it like their People's Choice Award. And you get 6 credits. You can't use them all on us. If you could, that would be fun, but you can't because you got other people to vote for. There are so many dope podcasts that are nominated. So certainly use one of your credits to vote for us, vote for your boys, but also vote for some of the other amazing podcasters that are nominated as well. So that's really cool. And you should also come to the award ceremony. So anybody can come. It's virtual. It's absolutely free. It's and the link to that is in the chat. It's on Sunday. Oh, one thing, you can vote until Sunday. And the award ceremony is on Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's 11 a.m. Pacific Time. So y'all can come and hang out with us. Check out the awards, check out the other podcasts, see who wins, root for Q Points. Hopefully we win. And yeah, man. Sir Daniel, how you feel? How do you feel?
I feel excellent about it. Like you said, it's a little over a year that we've been at this. We've done all the tweaks and the tuning ups to make this the quality podcast that we know this can be, and what you guys deserve to listen to, and what kind of archive this needs to be for future generations. So I think it's deserved. I said we're going to stop being fake humble.
Right.
Moving forward, we're going to stop being fake humble. We're going to acknowledge ourselves and acknowledge the work that because we've put in the work. And again, we couldn't do this without you, the listeners. So we are super excited to share this nomination and hopefully award with you all. We've got, man. And what I enjoy the most about doing this podcast, J. Ray, is the amount of connections that we've made on the way. Like, we have made quite a few connections with other podcasters across the country and outside of the United States. And the amount of love that we're receiving, that we're able to give with them, there's nothing like it. That's what I think I appreciate the most.
Yeah. One of the things that's so cool, like that has been really, really fun. And we look forward to doing more of that. The connecting, we've had so many interviews. We probably had more interviews in the last 3 months than we've had our entire show. Right. But once again, shout out to our listeners. Shout out to, Wani and Trey and like all of you who have encouraged us to reach out to folks and do that. And shout out to Troy Podcast. I want to send some specific shout outs. So They Reminisce Over You was on our show this summer. And,
our Canadian cousins.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Christina and Miguel, who shouted us out on their social media. They're back. Their podcast. They have this dope Mariah Carey episode out right now. So we're going to drop the link in the chat for that in a minute. Shout out to Wani, who is in the building. Thank you for supporting and being with us, Wani. Absolutely. But so shout out to They Reminisce Over You, who gave us a really cool tweet and a shout out to encourage their listeners to vote for us too. And also, oh my God, our brothers Motown Lee and Dr. Ed Garnes, Sir Daniel. Like today, we woke up this morning to like smiles, y'all.
I'm telling you, J. Ray, I woke up and I texted you. I was like, I almost shed a couple thug tears over this. Like, they took the time in their podcast to shout us out regarding their appearance on our show, and something that could have turned ugly, could have turned messy, but we surrounded each other in love and did what the Dr. Ed calls correction with love, and just kind of had a conversation over something that Motown was trying to get across, and it was received well, the whole thing. And so that made me smile the most, is that we demonstrated what a lot of brothers aren't doing a lot of recently, and especially in this rap game. I wish that people could remedy conflicts, or keep things a friendly competition, because yes, that's what hip hop was built on. Hip hop was built on friendly competition. As a matter of fact, a lot of the competitions that hip hop spawned, whether it was competition through b-boying or what we call breakdancing, a lot of competition in tagging, DJs who could DJ the best, who could cut and scratch, all of that was actually done to replace the energy that was put into rival gang fights. Because back in the day in New York, the Bronx had a really bad gang problem. And so hip hop came and kind of refocused that energy into something positive. And how it got started. That was the initial formula for hip hop, right? Friendly competition. And today we are just inundated with conflict, and to, like the title says of this show, we believe that the music industry has this obsession with hip hop conflict. Like
Absolutely.
it's the grease that runs the machine.
Absolutely. No question about it. And I mean, when you go through the history of hip hop and look at the evolution that you just alluded to, Sir Daniel, you definitely see this fork in the road that begins to happen as hip hop's money making ability really begins to take a foothold in the music industry, and people begin to figure out that, oh, someone can say that and make money. Okay, we need you to do more of that, right? And I think of myself, right? So I am okay with friendly competition. Like I guess that's like my masculine energy when it comes out. I actually like to be as good as I can be about the things. We truly want Q Points to be the best music podcast you can listen to. Right? Point blank, period. And so that means we are looking at other podcasts and be like, okay, we need to be better than this. We need to do this. We need to do that. Like, no, and those podcasts matter too. We all matter, but the competition helps us to get better. And so one of the things that has become apparent to me as, in preparation for this show is how the competition has bred innovation, and we could talk about that more in a second. But now it's just like, y'all, it's wildin'. And I'm like, this is not competition anymore. This is negativity. It's deeper than that. It's not about the music anymore. It's not trying to prove that you're the best MC or the best B-boy or B-girl or the best DJ. It's trying to take down people personally. And that is different.
It's different. It's weird. It's whack. You won't catch J. Ray and I running down on the next podcasters with gats talking about, we need you to get off these internet streets so that we can be the #1 podcast. That's not going to happen.
No.
What I find even weirder are these people who position themselves in hip hop who really don't have any stakes or any currency in the game, except nowadays you can hop online and you can say erroneous things and become a pundit. You can become an influencer. Hell, you can get a show and get rich off of this just because the way things are set up now with the internet. And speaking of people that have mastered the competition of hip hop, LL Cool J is a perfect example of someone who has mastered.
Yes.
Was I that apparent, Keys?
Yes, Keys know who we're talking about. Right.
Exactly. But LL Cool J has mastered the art of competition in hip hop.
Yeah.
He is certified an icon.
Battle tested.
And so when you have somebody who really doesn't have any kind of, who holds no clout, who holds nothing to us, it's people like us in our age group. He doesn't really hold any weight with us. Have the nerve to try and talk about the founders, the foundation of hip hop, and to say disparaging things, I think adds to the ugliness and to the viciousness of what hip hop has become. That is part. Like, he's fed into and of course, we're talking about academics. I'll just say it.
We are period.
I don't even want to call him DJ Academics because I've never seen him touch turntables first.
No controllers. What about no controllers, no turntables?
Not even
nothing.
Controller, nothing. And so it's like, who are you all of a sudden? And now he's making these very broad statements about he doesn't even want to talk to, he doesn't even acknowledge people who aren't rich off of hip hop. That kind of stuff creates this ugliness, this ugly atmosphere in hip hop.
Yeah, you know what? So we're gonna play. It's a short clip. This is actually from DJ must be his nickname or something, right?
Right, got to be
right.
His initials.
This clip that we're about to play comes from DJ Mr. C's page. Shout out to the legendary DJ Mr. C. And so we're going to play this quick clip and come back and talk a little bit.
That's what it is. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Them old rappers, man, bro, have you seen any of these old rappers who be like, yo, they're the foundation of hip-hop really living good? Them be looking really dusty. I kid you not. And then none of y'all try to come for me because I don't y'all either. So I'm just tell y'all the truth. Y'all be looking like, every time they be like an old talking about hip-hop, you be like, yo, bro, you sure you invented this? Because everybody else living better than you.
Yeah, thankfully, LL Cool J responded to that and said what needed to be said. There's nothing else that needs to be said. You have to respect the people that created this art for you to even implant yourself in it, to have something to plant yourself in it. Yes, did Wall Street come along and commodify hip hop? Absolutely. Is there a generation of rappers that made more money than the ones that created the foundation? No question. But what you can't do, what you're not going to do, and what we're not going to stand for is the erasure and the disrespect. But more to that is the energy that it creates, because now this fascination with money is why we have an executive like Shaka Zulu unfortunately involved in this being accused of attempted murder because of this situation where people feel entitled to flash and entitled to feel like they can push their weight around because you're a Shaka Zulu, they feel like, well, I don't care who you are, I'm just as important as you, and so they feel they have to flex. And I'm not siding with anybody, but I just feel like Shaka Zulu, after we've known everybody in Atlanta that's been here a while, knows Shaka.
Right.
And has been around Shaka. I remember Shaka used to have a show on WRFG called Free the Land, because at his root, Shaka is his parents, I believe, might have been Black Panthers, if I'm not mistaken. So they were very much about free the land, free Black people, about Black empowerment. So this, from what I'm hearing, was done in self-defense. And me personally, I'm leaning to the self-defense because of the character of this man. But it's just over the years, we have seen violence like insidiously wrap it like a snake, just wrap itself around hip hop.
Yes.
You know, starting with before like the whole death row arguments between Dre and Eazy-E and then Ice Cube and the whole camp, and then, you know, things got heated on wax, but it they may have seen each other in person and there might have been a little conflict here and there, but after that, then it just escalated to violence. The first time I really felt scared watching a hip hop event.
Which one?
The very first televised Source Awards.
Yeah, that 95 Source Awards was tense. It was truly the first time where it did. I feel like the mid 90s was that turning point. So if we track it from a money standpoint, this is the point now where hip hop is asserting itself as a money making machine. So, and the street element had really engrossed itself into the business side of things in this very direct way, whereas before it was indirect, right? We all have heard the stories about, in the early days of hip hop, rappers didn't have the money. The drug dealers had the money. So if people wanted to get something put on, the drug dealers might invest. It was a way to kind of do a thing. So it was kind of surrounding it, but not really like in it and in your face. And where the mid 90s is where we kind of see that change and it gets scary. So one of the funny stories, and KRS-One tells this story, of course, battle tested MC. And of course you have the South Bronx and, the bridge is over and all of that stuff. Or the bridge. And so he says, like, okay, so sometime later, Roxanne Shante saw me during this time and said, why did you say me in the song? I didn't say anything about you. And Chris was like, I kind of backed up with Coward a little bit because it wasn't like it was for the record, right? But it was a moment for him to remember, like, this woman is like, why are you talking to me, talking about me and checking my name in this? And what's that for? And now we move from that to, I'm coming to beat down you and your crew. You know what I'm saying? That's a very different approach to have this man like, yeah, okay, I had to sit with the fact that I said this woman's name in this song, and here she is in my face, and I'm not giving her that same energy.
Right. Yeah, and it's so funny. Speaking of Roxanne Shante specifically, like the whole Roxanne Wars, if we want to talk about the commodification of competition in hip hop, Roxanne is the starting point of how much money I think the labels were like, oh, we can make some money off it. Wait, how many people are answering this record? And then that led to I think 100. The UTFO record of Roxanne led to at least 100 response records.
Right.
Of course, Roxanne Shante and the real Roxanne are the only two of that era that actually transitioned into their own record deals and becoming hip hop icons.
Right.
However, so after the record died down, what was able to happen is like promoters would hire and would bring on Shante to bring her to their town. Wherever their town was, there was a Roxanne in that town. And they would hire her to be in concert to battle the Roxanne of their neighborhood or their city, their town or whatever, and hire her to come and battle these people. And of course, to her, that was nothing because she's Shante.
Roxanne Shante, right?
She's gonna eat you up. That's her thing. And But another thing, if we think about another pioneer, Sparky D, they had them tour together,
right? So
they could battle at these concerts,
right?
Because conflict equals cash. People came to it's like it was a title fight, a title bout. They even had on the record cover Shante and Sparky D wearing boxing gloves. You know, Sparky D versus Roxanne Shante, selling records, making more money off of that. And I'm sure those 17-year-old girls, 16, 17-year-old girls never saw a penny from those records.
Not one dime. So now we're still what's so, especially, and that's what makes this kind of current moment so crazy, is you got Sparky D and Roxanne Shante, they're kind of traveling together, right? You know what I'm saying? But they got to get on stage and they got to battle, right? They got to get on stage and they got to do all of this stuff and people are getting paid, but it's not them. You know what I mean? And so we already are realizing that, and this is the early to mid 80s or the mid 80s where people are realizing this. So by the time we get to the West Coast, so of course the music gets really dark. So by the time we transition out of the 1980s, and what Eazy-E and NWA and Ice Cube were doing in the West Coast changes the tone of the music significantly. Like, there is truly a shift in the way rap sounds, in the way it feels. It is revolutionary in the way it kind of spread, where you even have folks in New York that are starting to resemble what folks in LA are doing. But during that period of time, we also have the chart aspect of things, right? Yes. So now we first saw it, of course, with Ice Cube and NWA. And now we have the money piece, right? Because rappers are like, oh, you trying to keep my money from me. That was Ice Cube's whole thing, was like, the money wasn't right. Like, I caught them trying to get me to sign a contract that was going to rob me of my money, right? And so that starts it. But that conflict quickly becomes more than records. And we see it become more than records, where you might be dissing somebody in a battle. There's just certain things you don't say. But by 1991,
all bets are off.
All bets are off. People are saying some of the most vile things, talking about killing them, families, all of the stuff that we would have considered off limits are now on the table, because these are things that in hip hop we are now talking about. So and it's heading up the charts. Millions of dollars are being made off of our conflict. And that really changes things.
It does. It's funny you brought up the record label. So we're, as a people in hip hop, where not only are we battling with crooked executives at record labels, Jerry Heller, we've been introduced to gang culture.
Yep.
Out of the West Coast, you know, yes, we saw it in the movies, you know, with colors and whatnot, but the West Coast faction brought in gang culture. Let's just call it that. It is what it is. And they repped gang culture. And so when you have the Chronic come out, of course, you know, you've got Snoop and Tupac rising. I mean, rising to popularity, to superstardom, where their past is catching up to them. Like, out of the gate, Snoop is maybe 19 years old. He's at the height of his career. Then he's slapped with an attempted murder charge.
Yep.
And going, so it's like the song says, it's more money, more problems. And so not only is your affiliation is catching up to you. So you got these attempted murder charges, and we see this trend happening with the more popular rappers. Tupac, of course, whole career was riddled. Once he came out from behind Digital Underground and got to the front, it's like, enough of his acting prowess and his rapping prowess, we don't care about that. It became all about the drama that surrounded him when it came to the fights. It came to being shot at in New York at the studios. And then, of course, we all know that rolled into the conflict, the East-West conflict that involved him and, of course, the Notorious B.I.G., who at that point, they were just, you know, New York, we were still trying to have fun. You know, there was a little money talk. Big did introduce a little gun talk and Robin's season talk, because, you know, it's Brooklyn. The kids were doing that. But it got escalated with this beef and trying to represent a whole coast. And so not only are we battling in the boardroom, now we're battling each other's labels, which I always thought was so corny to me. We're battling labels, and it's like, did you ever see the Isley Brothers talking about, if you tired of Quincy Jones dancing around in your videos, and you tired of Sony Records, you know, come to T-Neck Records over here. You know, you didn't hear any of that, you know, but now it's become this whole Bad Boy versus Death Row. And so again, this snake of conflict is tightening its grip on hip hop at this point. And
Sir Daniel, you started to go into this, but I do think it's really important, because what starts to happen is everything gets infiltrated. So the media, so everybody's talking about it. Everybody's having the conversation about, so what do you think about so-and-so? What do you, and I don't like so-and-so. So now you have this person. How many times have we heard the story about, I had no beef with them, but they went on this interview and said something crazy about me.
D Barnes is still suffering. Well,
But
I won't
this
say suffering, but the ripple effect of
affects.
that moment in time where she was assaulted by Dr.
Dr.
Dre
Dre.
because of an interview that she did with Ice Cube has still to this day affected her career because she was the it girl. She could
Yes.
D Barnes could have been what Kurt Loder is to MTV. A
Yep.
lot of y'all probably don't even remember that name,
Right.
but she was that hip hop media chick. What Angie Martinez is,
And what Angie
D.
Martinez
Barnes
is, that was D
is-
Barnes.
D Barnes could absolutely be standing right next to Angie Martinez in that light, in that capacity. But again, the conflict, the nasty energy entered into the music and had this woman being beat. Can you imagine? You just trying to do a story and an interview, but the culture has changed so drastically. Now you have to be afraid of who you interview. We all know about the Hot 97 shootings.
Yep.
Because of the ongoing conflict between Foxy Brown and Kim and Lil' Kim, spilled over into a shootout. It was the wildest thing I could ever hear about.
Sir Daniel, and the whole thing. So while all of this is happening, y'all, now I know y'all are listening to this like this stuff sounds crazy. You're right, it does. But guess what? There are executives making millions off of this very thing. What is what is people's real life experiences in their work is now making people a lot of money because now they get to, this is feeding the media. This is making more records because you're making more and more records. You're talking about this thing, the fans. And what it's doing though as well is it's conditioning us as listeners to be okay with this kind of conflict. We're now okay. Like by the early 2000s, we're used to it. You know what I'm saying? Like we're used to it. And yes, there's always been an element of hip hop that felt dangerous. Now, when you go to shows, but now it's a situation where you got to be afraid of the artists themselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we definitely saw the East Coast, West Coast things was nuts. That's an entire coast against another coast. It's not neighborhood against neighborhood. It's not crew against crew. It's not person against person. It is a coast of the country against another coast of the country. That's nuts.
It's so bizarre. Looking back on it, I'm just like, what were we thinking? What were they thinking? What were we all thinking? Because we all fed into it. If we want to keep it a buck with ourselves, we all fed into it and picked sides. Yes, Mark, you're absolutely correct. A lot of those executives were non-black people pushing those pens, pushing those, hey, put these artists on the cover.
Yep.
So that you can sell more magazines because they have beef with the whole coast. And it's so much going into that.
And Sir Daniel, so many people died in this process. Yes. Like Big and Pac died, were murdered, still unsolved to this day. And these brothers were young, y'all. Pac was like 26 and Big was like 24. They were super young.
Yep. Absolutely. Super young. And it felt like that was the domino. Pac was the domino, and it just felt like every year, maybe every other year, there was somebody important to hip hop that was killed unnecessarily, killed in malice. Jam Master Jay. The list would go on and on and on. Even people who weren't in front of the microphones. If we fast forward to the mid 2000s, one of T.I.'s right hand man, I can't remember his name right now. They were out and about and were being followed, and he got shot at. So
Jesus.
These things just kept happening. And it seems like if you were involved in rap music, and even if you weren't in front of the microphone, somebody could have gotten caught astray, literally, in the conflict that arises with the energy that was being created and fostered in hip hop. And it's so wild that, and I know we're going to talk about this in the next segment, the art of diss records and keeping things on wax was completely thrown out, but there was an art to it.
Yes.
And in the next segment, J. Ray and I are going to tell you all what our top 3 diss records are. And I think you're going to enjoy that because we enjoyed it. But yeah, when it comes to seeing things change, J. Ray, I'm trying not to be pessimistic about it, but it almost feels like we don't even have control over it anymore. It's so far gone. It's so far steeped into the culture now where, being frisked at concerts is commonplace. You don't know who's gonna, people are gonna start shooting, or if there are people are gonna start rioting and people are gonna die at a concert. I don't know. It's just, and it's not fun anymore. I think that's the part that disappoints me the most, is that there is a lack of fun sometimes when it comes to hip hop. But thankfully there are spaces being created like your One Music Fest that try to encompass an element of fun and family back into the music, and the Roots picnics, things like that. People are trying when we create spaces like that and we set the intention of being family focused and fun, and maybe you just can't invite a 50 Cent to be on that bill because we know the energy that 50 Cent brings. Maybe you just can't, even if he had a hot record, it probably is best not to put him on the bill because of he's beefing. You definitely don't want to invite Tory Lanez anywhere.
Don't invite him nowhere.
He's just a complete hothead. He needs to, shout out to our Canadian cousins, but y'all need to come get your boy and
take him back up there
and take away his visa. But yeah, it's just ridiculous at this point. And as far as making changes, I think the change will definitely have to come within from like the promoters, the producers of music, DJs. If we want to create environments that are not toxic and people can feel safe, we might have to be a little more choosy about what we decide to play.
Absolutely. I think you nailed all the big things. I think if I would add one thing as well, I think us as listeners making decisions about our streams, making decisions about how we spend money on and the types of energy we want to spend money on. Like, I do truly believe that we have an opportunity to shift the culture. The reason why we got to this point is because we bought 100 Miles and Running. We bought the second NWA record. We bought, yes, No Vaseline, my God. Death Certificate. You know what I'm saying? We bought into all of these things, and we paid our money to experience these conflicts. We bought the magazines, we bought the papers, we bought the artist music. And what we have to decide is, nah. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that. I don't want that energy. Because honestly, and I said this to you, and this is going to be a separate show. We're going to do it after, somewhere down the line. But there's so much hip hop from when I was like a kid that I just don't listen to now. The energy, it don't align them. It don't speak to me now. Like, the beat might be hot, but I'm like, I don't know. I can't rap that anymore. You know what I'm saying? I can't say that.
Or you can't play that record to get people to dance. You can't drop that record in the set anymore. It just doesn't make sense. However, that does not take away from the fact that we have ranked our top 3 diss records, and we are going to share that with you on the other side of this break.
Yes, we'll be right back.
All right, we had to pause for station identification, as they used to say back in the day. This is Q Points, and we are still discussing bloodlust and the music industry's obsession with hip hop conflict. And J Ray, we were discussing at the top of the show historically that hip hop was about friendly competition.
Yes.
And sometimes it started off in face-to-face battle rhymes, party rocking, who was the best party rocker. I'll never forget the first time I heard Kool Moe Dee take down Busy Bee in that live at Harlem World in 1981 on a tape, because that's how I heard it. It was on a cassette tape that was passed around. And I mean, he completely of course, he did his homework about Busy Bee.
Mm-hmm.
He's seen Busy Bee in shows, and he said some specific things about Busy Bee's flow,
Mm-hmm.
about his some of his rhymes that he does at every party. And so there's an art to it.
Yes.
There's a nuance to saying, to putting people in check in a rap. And there were some people that were excellent at it, and some people who were just vicious with it. So right now, what J Ray and I are going to do, we are ranking our top 3 diss records of all time. J Ray, I think you should go first.
Oh my goodness. Let me just go ahead. Okay. So this is I went a little different. So when I was thinking about diss records, they encompass so many things. And so let me just say, okay, so my number 3 is Buddy X by Nina Cherry. And what I found so fascinating about this is it's not an obvious diss record, right? It could be just like a woman scorned record. It could be conceived as I'm just, looking out for my girl record. But, Nina Cherry in this song is talking about Lenny Kravitz, like very directly. So there was no ambiguity on Lenny's part who she was talking about, because this is apparently an alias that he used to use. And this was, of course, in support of her friend Lisa Bonet, who was married to Lenny Kravitz at the time. And so she wrote this whole diss record to Lenny. I am going to, for all of these, we're going to put a link in the chat. I specifically went ahead and chose the remix that has Biggie on it.
Yes, I love that the Desert Eagle remix.
Yes. So when you click that link, it'll also be in the description for those of you who are not listening live. The one that you can hear is the Biggie remix joint. But yes, Buddy X, Nina Cherry is my number 3. Sir Daniel, your number 3.
So J Ray went a non-traditional route, which is fine. I like to keep it real gutter and gully when it comes to diss records. And to me, my humble opinion, the king of Sugar Honey on the Rocks, which celebrates Black women in music, my DJ series, Sugar Honey on the Rocks. I live for female MCs. I love them. To me, a lot of the most vicious diss records or vicious rap records have come from women, especially when they were answering back dudes.
Yes.
Now, there came a time when, in order for a group to achieve status, you had to go after somebody who apparently was at the top of the pyramid chain. And JJ Fad, the underrated queens of the West Coast, hip hop and pop records back in the day. JJ Fad is known for their pop records, right? However, when you flip that record over or that cassette to their hip hop side, those women would eat the girls up. So my number 3 record is a record they called Now Really. Now Really, to me, diss records there's the pacing of the record. It's not too fast. It's very cafeteria. We're banging our fists on the on the table, making the beat. It's very concise. It's very specific. they're talking about the group Too Bad, who formed after they left JJ Fad. Some old members of JJ Fad broke off and created their own group called Too Bad. There was another rap group on the West Coast called Sugar and Spice. So those were the targets for this particular record. And JJ Fad was reared and brought up by NWA.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had Ice Cube, they had MC Ren backing them. Mm-hmm. So the pen game was mean.
Right.
And so, but the delivery, I don't know what kind of microphones Dr. Dre was using. First, and Dr. Dre produced it, so it's everything. So I don't know what kind of microphones Dr. Dre was using on them, but they sounded so crisp and so concise. There was no confusing what they were saying. And it just, everything about that record is everything to me. So it's called Now Really. It's featured on the Supersonic, the album, their debut album that came out in 1988.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just all three of them take their time, take a turn going at somebody that opposed their crew. And that's how you defend your crew.
Absolutely.
And that's how if somebody tries to bring it to you on wax, you bring it to them just like that. And I think Now Really was a perfect example of how a diss record should be made.
I feel like this. So my number 2 is Cannabis's Second Round Knockout.
Okay.
Yeah, like, so I did fall, I ended up going traditional with this. Actually, my I think my top 2 are pretty traditional. But okay. What I love about this record, I feel like a really good diss record has to do 2 things. It has to really do 3 things. The beat has to slap, or it has to have, like, the whole production element, to me, has to be a thing. You can have the craziest diss in the world, but if it's over some whack production, I gotta work at it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I gotta stick with you. Second Round Knockout checks this box, right? It's really, the production is clean. The second thing is the MC has to be skilled, right? So the MC themselves has to understand what their strengths are and has to have also spent some time kind of studying the subject that they are about to diss. So check. Cannabis did that. And then number 3, their target, the target has to make sense, right? So the person that they are really targeting has to be someone is like almost equally matched. I think disses are whack when you have like a really dope MC like dissing like a whack MC. I'm like, I know who's gonna win this battle, so it doesn't make sense. The Cannabis Second Round Knockout is dope and fascinating to me because in all intents and purposes, Cannabis is the underdog, right?
Absolutely.
Right. And if you look at history will probably say that LL won this battle, but really LL probably won the race, but Cannabis won this round. Like, it was very, very clear. So what was interesting to me about Second Round Knockout is it kind of came. So Cannabis was on 4-3-2-1 with a bunch of other people. It was remix, like the remix. Everybody DMX, was on it. DMX. It was a crazy remix. Man.
Yes. Dope, right.
So apparently in the original version, Cannabis did, because LL has the microphone on the arm thing, and Cannabis was like, let me get that mic off your arm, and was really kind of like bigging L. Yeah, poking the bear, but I also think he was bigging him up a little bit. Like, it was like, yo, this is like, this is the big dog. Let me, I'm here too. This is the homie, right? This is LL that I'm here with, right? LL did not take that kindly and had him change it. LL did not take it kindly. Had him change the verse, but LL had written a verse in response. So on one song, there is a diss to a person who's on the song.
On the same record.
On the same record, right? So this is Cannabis's response, right, to that diss, which was on a song that Cannabis is actually on too. So that was fun. That also made this super fun as a response record. So this song still holds up. I listened to it in preparation for our conversation, and I'm like, yep, this is good. This is good. It still holds up. It has Mike Tyson in the music video training cannabis. It's crazy. So, yes, my number 2 is Second Round Knockout by Cannabis, and we put the link in the chat. And you're right, Keys. Yeah, he ate them up. Like he ate them up.
Ate him up, yeah. And what I remember fondly about this record is it got people excited about hip hop. I remember they were doing, they would stop what they were doing on the air to play the new Cannabis record because they were like, oh, Cannabis dropped a diss against LL, and so it became this ongoing thing because it felt like every week somebody was dropping a response. And to people that felt like old times, it was like, this is hip hop.
Yep.
And so your pick and my second pick kind of go hand in hand because except for the original record. So my pick is Shut the F Up Ho by MC Lyte, which actually was on the B-side. It was a B-side on the Light as a Rock 12-inch because there had been this ongoing feud between MC Lyte and the gangsteress Antoinette. And they had been sparring on records, taking jabs at each other on records. MC Lyte kind of came at her first. If she responded to what she thought was a diss, and so on her album she had 10% diss, which is dope in and of itself. But Shut the F Up took it to another level. First of all, it opened up with a sample of Millie Jackson.
Right.
So it sets the tone for the record. She says, I've been too nice for too long. Yup, it's definitely time I start feeling bitchy. And then this nasty ass funky bass line just comes in. It's real smooth, it's slow, and it has they're cutting up Hot Damn Ho, Shut the Fuck Up, the whole record. And so MC Lyte, like Cannabis, categorically takes Antoinette apart.
Yes.
Categorically takes Herbie Lovebug got it, for quote unquote setting her up for failure. And just I don't think on Wax we heard that much, like it felt visceral. It felt like, I remember when I was listening to it, I felt like, oh, this is ugly. Like, oh, like Lyte is really going in on this woman who was the underdog and who was holding her own. But MC Lyte was like, nah, I'm going to show you why I'm who I am. And I think the best part of the record, which is really the taunting part of the record, is at the very end, is you can hear Audio 2 saying, yo, learn it. What is that? Knowing is half the battle. And they called her slime. And then they're all laughing
Gangsters don't
in
make
the
me
background.
laugh.
Don't make me laugh. And it's like, it's almost like they had no respect for her talent. The record told me that they had no respect for her. Like, we're completely ending your career. I felt like, ooh, this is not going to end well for Antoinette's career. And it kind of did that to her career, along with other things. But it was definitely a show of MC Lyte really threw her on the table with that one. And but was vicious with it. Had the nice delivery. The beat was dope. So that's why Shut the F Up is my number 2.
Yeah, I mean, you are absolutely right. That joint right there. I remember when I first heard it, like having that moment of, I don't know if I stopped the tape. I might have stopped the tape because I knew, as an Antoinette fan, listening to it sounded so like, ooh,
the whole time you're making this face like, oh, got you. She kind of ate you up. Oh man, what are we gonna do now?
Yeah. So my number 1 Lost Ones by Lauryn Hill. Definitely. So I guess I didn't go traditional with this. And it's funny. This wasn't, I had a different, like I have stuff written down on this piece of paper to try to figure out what it was going to be. I ended up going with Lost Ones because Lost Ones checks all my boxes. And it does an additional thing. It is kind of universally it's like a universally dope song where you could just not look at this as a diss record and it's going to be fine, but it is a diss record, right? And it's just subliminal. It's beautiful in its kind of subliminal approach to having this conversation between Lauren and Wyclef. It's technically, I guess, the first single for the record, but not really. It's more like a teaser single because Doo Wop is really the first single. But it was very clear that Lauren had something to say before she delivered this record. And Lost Ones was that. And it opens with, it's funny how money changed the situation. And it just goes from there. And it is the most elegant diss record. Well written. Lauren is a vicious MC. So it's like, oh, she dissing, but like this rhyme is crazy.
And we could all sing along with it. It was easy to learn.
Very much so. And just even thinking about her singing on the end of the record, you might win some, but you really, it's like a nursery rhyme, but you
and it's
really,
taunting.
And it's taunting him.
The person, yeah. Again.
And then, and if we just took that at face value, like that in itself is heavy. But then on top of it, you deliver one of the greatest records of all time. It opens as the first song on one of the greatest records across the board of all time. You don't get, it's like, oh, you living up to this, Miss Hill.
Absolutely.
So Lost Ones, Lauryn Hill is my number one diss record.
Absolutely. And it's so funny because you and author extraordinaire Danielle Smith share that opinion about like Lost Ones being like the perfect diss record. And so, and for all the same points, you're absolutely right. And then it set up the whole album. Well done. Now the difference, again, I'm going more traditional with my number one. Like you said, Lost Ones was more subliminal. But so y'all know how I feel. Again, I am their expert on female MC rap history, and we've mentioned Roxanne Shante ad nauseum, and I think there is no greater in female rap history. There is no greater diss record than Big Mama, and the reason why I say that is because of how it got formed organically, because you could see it in real time happening. If you were around, there was a pay-per-view. Kids, there was a thing called pay-per-view back in the day, where if there was a special event that was being televised, but it wasn't being broadcast on regular cable or television outlets, the promoters would put it up on pay-per-view so that you could pay and watch it from your home, right? So there was this event called Sisters in the Name of Rap.
I'll never forget it.
And so this was 91. Yes, 91. That Sisters in the Name of Rap had come along. So at this point, Roxanne Shante has kind of, she came out in 84. She dropped the album in 89. So you got that span of time where she was kind of in and out of the game, not really producing a product so that people could take it home and, get to know Roxanne Shante. So she kind of, people remember her, but they kind of don't. And of course, you have this new crop, this wave of female MCs that has come out. So by the time Sisters in the Name of Rap has come along, Shantae is like doing a has pops up on a single here and there, but there's no album, so to speak of.
Mm-hmm.
So she is kind of like a special guest on this lineup because they say she's the, you know, the queen, the original MC, queen of MCs, blah blah blah. So to what she said to her report, Shantae, I should say, Shantae said that backstage, what she witnessed was a lot of the new kids, the new girls coming in the door, and a lot of them, she had this kind of undeserved ego that she was kind of like, what is going on here? She heard a lot of people arguing over who had the better dressing room, who felt like they should be on what part of the bill just based on how hot their records were. So she was just, and she said, I was just sitting back and looking at it like, none of y'all would be here if it weren't for me. Like, she had that moment of, I was 14 years old, like going out on the road, you know, living in a halfway house, being away from my family, getting robbed, getting duped by show producers who didn't want to pay her, not getting a cent off the record, all this other stuff. And y'all have the nerve to argue, to be beefing over dressing rooms and your name on the marquee and where you are on the lineup. And she was like, okay, I got something for y'all. She wanted to, so from that night, and even on stage, while she was at the end of her performance, and this video is online for those of you who are curious to see it, she performs a song called Dance to This that features Biz Markie on the beatbox. She's on stage with Granddaddy IU. She's rocking the crowd, and the song is coming to the end. And the very last thing she says before she leaves the stage, she said, oh, and I just want to say one thing. Ain't no bitch in this house can fuck with this. The crowd loses it, and she walks off stage. And you can kind of see people were like, wait a minute, what did she just say? You know, you can see MC like visibly like, what just happened? You know, because this is supposed to be sisters in the name of rap. So in true Shantae fashion, she threw her on the table at the end of that performance and was like, I had to remind y'all of who I am. Mm-hmm. And within maybe a few months later, I was sitting in my room listening to Rhythm and Vibes of the Georgia State radio station, and they played hip hop on Sunday nights. And Randall Moore and Talib said, well, we got this new record. And I don't know, guys. This is different. It's from Roxanne Shantae. Yes, that Roxanne Shantae. And it's called Big Mama. And this is the original. Mm-hmm. This is the Large Professor version. Mm-hmm. What's on the album is a completely different version. The Large Professor version is like super gritty and super street. And this record comes in. I will never forget the shock and awe I had on my face listening to this record, because it starts off and I'm like, okay, this is cool. And then she said, she says that, the hook on the song is, I gave birth to all of these MCs, to all of them MCs. And they're like, okay, yeah, yes, you did, Shiny. That's cool. It gets to the second verse and she says, matter of fact, I'm going to start calling off names.
I remember.
At this point, nobody is saying names anymore. If you're dissing, you're being subliminal because you don't want no real beef. Shantae's like, no, I'm going to start calling off names. And the very first person she goes after is a bona fide superstar at this point. But she does not care. She says, I am coming after you first. First up is Latifah.
She did. First up is Latifah.
You roll up and I'm going to smoke that ass like reefer. I was like, wait a minute.
I remember hearing that like...
Because at this point, you're like, nobody would go. Who Latifah is a superstar. She's Khadijah,
Right.
Was she Khadijah at this point?
She was. It was pre. She was about to be Khadijah. This is like 92. This is pre Khadijah, but she's on the way to be Khadijah.
So it's like she's well respected.
Yes,
everybody knows she's a dope lyricist. Nobody's gonna say anything about Latifah, and she goes in on Latifah. She goes in on Moni Love, and then who was on that? I think those were the first two, and then somebody else that I absolutely did not expect her to say was MC Lyte. Mm-hmm. Another MC that I just figured she wasn't going to touch Lyte because I thought they might have actually been cool as well. She goes after Lyte. She refers to her sexuality, which was nobody had ever dared to question MC Lyte's sexuality at that time. She straight up called her,
she used the derogatory term.
She used the derogatory term for a lesbian. Mm-hmm. She went after Salt and Pepper. Anybody. Yo-Yo was heartbreaking.
It was.
That was heartbreaking.
It was. I will never forget what she said. I'm going to let y'all go listen to the joint. But I still remember that. Nah, take your ass down. I'm going to just leave it be.
Oh, my God. And it was just like, the whole record, I literally had my hand over my mouth like, I can't believe this is happening. If we had YouTube reaction videos back then, I would have done a YouTube reaction video. And it was just one of those things you have to go and listen to. And you probably may not have an appreciation for it. But at this point, like I said, everybody is playing politics. Everybody is being babied by their labels. Battling is not really a thing now. People can dance and rap and do their thing and earn lots of money. But Shantae at that time wanted to remind the kids of the essence of hip hop and what she was best known for, which was battling and out rapping everybody else. And just reminding people, it was a cry. It was a cry for help. When I look back on it, mm-hmm. It was a cry for help because she felt left out of the conversation. Right. She felt like the industry had completely used her up mm-hmm. and threw her to the side. So what do you do when you feel like you've been used up and thrown to the side? You lash out at people.
You lash out, and you ain't got nothing to lose. You know what I'm saying?
You don't have nothing to lose because at this point, I really feel she has said this on record, that she was done with hip hop. She was done with the industry. She didn't want anything to do with it. But she said, you know what? I'm going to put out this one last record and just put my whole foot in it. And I'm calling out names. You all are going to remember me. And that is why Big Mama is my number one diss record, because just the shock and awe of it all, Chef's Kiss. It's just like one of the heftier diss records of the early stages of hip hop, in my opinion.
No, you know what? I absolutely agree, point blank, period, with you. And it strikes me as interesting that history often puts, to my chagrin, No Vaseline as like the greatest diss record in hip hop. I think it might be Big Mama though. Yep. Like, I don't know that enough people see women MCs as like, top notch and comparable to men. Yeah. But it is interesting now that you revisit. Thank you for that revisiting of Big Mama, because that record, guys, y'all, listen. And the record, The Bitch Is Back, I remember the little gun and the whole thing. It was a lot going on. But people always, like I said, put No Vaseline as like, here's the greatest diss record in hip hop. And I'm like, have y'all heard Big Mama?
Have you heard Big Mama? Have you heard? And people, and how you know it was a great diss record is that all the answers, all the responses to it never lived up to the shock and awe and the destruction that Big Mama caused. Like, people really, their feathers were ruffled, egos were shattered. Like, people were really bothered as a kid. Like the kids like to say today, they were bothered.
Whew. Wow. 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 So yes, those are our top, my top three and DJ Sir Daniel's top three disc records. We will make sure that we have a playlist for y'all. Maybe we could sprinkle in some other disc records because I have some ones that didn't make the list that I think
Okay.
could go in there. We'll make a dope playlist for y'all and put it out.
Sure.
It won't include no Vaseline. So,
And there's a reason behind that.
wow. Yeah. Oh, so Trey, yes, you got to check this out, Trey. So Trey has clearly never heard Big Mama, and we have to bruh.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Like to go after Miss Ladies first. And that's a verse. She's like,
Yeah.
you say ladies first, but I'm the first lady.
That's so crazy how we remember like the words.
And the verses, and all y'all hoes are shady.
Yeah.
You say ladies first, but I'm the first lady. Yep. She had something to prove, man.
Wow, Sir Daniel, this has been an amazing show. Really quickly, y'all, make sure for those of you that are with us, if you have not gone to vote for Q Points, please vote for us for a Listeners Love Award for the Black Podcasting Awards. We are up for Best Black Music Podcast, and you can join us on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the awards ceremony. Listen, real talk. We are going to start talking about this more at the beginning of the show because it's really important. We are trying to grow the show. We really want to grow the show, and one of the ways that it's going to we're going to be able to do that, right? Because me and Sir Daniel, we spending our own money to make this thing pop, but we want to grow it even more. So listen, if you love us and you love what we're doing, leave us a tip. It's really helpful. If you are like, listen, I want to get down with those dudes and support everything they do, become a member, because we need that kind of support to be able to take the show to where we know the show can go. Please make sure that you subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, and make sure that you subscribe to us over on Spotify as well. Please be sure to leave us a review, because that really helps. Make sure that you subscribe to us on the YouTube, as well as follow the brother DJ Sir Daniel on Mixcloud, because he gives you what you need from a music standpoint over there.
Thank you so much for that. Yes, absolutely. This was a fun show.
Yes.
This was a fun show. But in all seriousness, guys, let's, in your own individual ways, try and inject some light into everywhere you go, because these are really dark times, and the music is reflected in that. And some people think people think this is the way it has to be, because it's been like this for so long now, and they think it, like you said, it's just become a part of the culture. But it doesn't have to be. I think that's the part that we need to realize. It doesn't have to be. Where you can, please interject some joy. Like, look at Roxanne Shante now. Is the happiest she's ever been. She's being recognized everywhere. She's a part of the Rock the Bells family, emceeing all the shows and just getting all the props that she deserves now. And now she's interjecting light everywhere that she goes. And that can be you. Yeah. That can be all of us, and interjecting light wherever we go, so we could change this thing up. I challenge all our musician friends, when you're creating content, to put out some stuff that is lighthearted, that is fun, that can kind of change the energy. If we could just shift it a little bit, because it's getting weird out there, guys. It's getting weird, and it's getting scarier than what it used to be. But like I always say, J. Ray, in this life, you have a choice. You can either pick up the needle, or you can let the record play. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is J. Ray, y'all. Peace.
This is Q Points, and we are dropping the needle on Black music history. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.